Fantastic. My name is Linda Blick, and I'm the president of Tales of Hope Foundation, and we're one of the 3 partners that puts on this annual event. We first and foremost want to thank the Scouts for all your service to our community and society, and we would like to give a special shout out to Park Ridge Girl Scout and Troop 80, who have done an amazing job getting this room set up for this afternoon. We are very pleased to tell you that we have some special guests who made special arrangements to come and talk to you. This was not on the schedule. But when we found out how many wonderful Scouts were working hard to make this day successful, we asked Master at Arms Vargas if he would join with us from Earl in talking to you, and 2 wonderful colonels. Norma, if you could please join us. We have Colonel Norma Vargas and Colonel Rich Vargas, all the way from the Pentagon. So if you please join us here. Please. So they're going to talk to you about what they do, and they will leave room for questions. And you should not feel shy. You can ask them whatever you like, as long as it's what? Appropriate and polite. I like you. A+.
Good morning. My name is Rich Vargas. I am the Military Working Dog Program Manager for the United States Army assigned at the Pentagon. And it's my pleasure and privilege to be here. Being with Boy Scouts is an honor. I am a Eagle Scout myself from 1970. So, but one of the things that we look to you to do is a continued support to our armed forces, who are deployed all over the world and at multiple installations here in the United States and overseas. Our military working dogs provide a great service in keeping us all safe. One of the things that you may not do is that our military working dogs are also used to support civilian law enforcement. So we've had military working dogs that have supported and assisted the police at the Boston Marathon, in New York City. So we are gainfully employed in the things that we do, all for one important reason: to keep everybody safe. Training is approximately 12 weeks, depending on the specialty, whether you're a drug or explosives dogs. And unfortunately, over the course of the 15 years that we've been deployed to Iraq, Afghanistan, and other multiple countries in the Middle East, we've lost 32 handlers and 32 dogs. It's a shame, but again, our mission is to lead. We go in front of the patrols. We lead from the front. So young men like Petty Officer Vargas is out with his dog, and that's it, finding explosives, placing his life and the life of his dog in danger and in jeopardy. But they do it because they are heroes. Young men and women like himself and the hundreds of other military working dog handlers of our joint services. And we continue to be deployed and prepare for readiness in deployment so that we can continue to protect this great nation. Multiple challenges. It takes a long time to train a dog. Our handlers rotate off of their dog every couple of years. So it's a constant reintroduction of the dog to a brand new handler, trying to learn and bond. And obviously, the other issues that we face of, unfortunately, what types of things that the bad guys use that we have to be prepared and start training to take a look at. What do we have to try to be ahead of them to assess how we can better train our dog teams so that they can best support our national security mission throughout the world. So that's what I do. We have approximately 500 military working dogs in the United States Army that are deployed throughout, and all our dogs go through Lackland Air Force Base for training and affiliation, and we keep doing what we do. And our young men and women are truly, with their canine heroes, truly heroes and truly great Americans. So I'm going to pass this off to the petty officer, who happens to spell his name incorrectly. It should be with a U.S., but that's okay. Petty officer.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anthony Vargas, Petty Officer Vargas. I'm from Neighborhood Concession Area. I'm one of the dogs handlers there. Basically, Lieutenant Colonel covered everything else that we do in our program. For each service, it's different, a little bit different, but all the dogs, they go through the same exact training. And basically, everything is basic. It's just like instruction, training time. That's the only difference that basically with each service goes through. Do you have any questions so far from everything that Lieutenant Colonel covered? Yes. Where? It's in Washington, D.C. I'm pretty sure.
Where's the Pentagon?
Pentagon is in Washington, D.C., and why is it called the Pentagon? Do you know? Go ahead. Right. How many sides in the Pentagon? There's 5 sides in the Pentagon. Ergo, the Pentagon.
Any other questions?
Where do you get the dogs?
Where do we get them? Oh, that's a good question. You want to go ahead?
So, the Department of the Air Force annually or semi-annually, and it's up to them because they have to assess how many military working dogs they're going to put into the system to support the services, and they'll make what we call buy trips. They will evaluate the dogs for trainability, take them back to Lackland Air Force Base, and then run them through, I believe it's a 6-week period to determine whether they are trainable to be placed on handler. Then the classes that come in, the handlers will pick those dogs up and go through the training protocols. Dogs cost about $5,000 to $6,000 each, and that's low because you have competing interests. So there are many other countries and other police organizations that also use the same breeds that we do, and some of them are paying $20,000 per dog because they can afford it, and obviously that's their national strategy for having the opportunity to be able to procure dogs. Our dog shelf life is normally about 9 years, and that's when organizations like Tales of Hope will get involved to assist us when our dogs are adopted out. So on the procurement side of the house, annually or biannually, the Air Force has money allocated to go and do these buy trips and hopefully train these dogs and do an assessment to make them available to be placed on handlers of the joint services. And then after they've completed that, these are all considered training dogs. So that handler is not getting that dog. That handler, once it's graduated training, canine training, either explosives or narcotics, goes to its first kennel, and at the kennel will be matched up with the dog that he or she will actually work.
Another thing that, so these dogs, so we get them really small. They get fostered, so it is open to the public. They basically get to go to a home. They get to basically get the love life because when they go to the training, it's a very intense training. They don't get the same exact love. So, and sometimes these dogs, I had my instructor, he was actually one of the dog trainers, and he's actually in Japan right now. He should be here shortly, so I really appreciate him. He's a good dude. So these dogs, like I said, they go into this training. Not every dog passes. Some of them, they just fail, and then we just kind of like put them out for adoption. From what I've seen so far when I went to dog school down in Lackland, that's where everybody that's trying to become a dog handler actually goes to. It was actually an honor for me to actually be allowed to go to the school. It's very hard for everybody in the service to actually go to the school. For us, we would have to pass 3 different screenings, including like a PT test as far as physical fitness. You have to get an expert on that, an excellent or above, and actually get recommendations from kennel masters, and then it goes all through the change. So it's not very, very easy to become a dog handler. So it's very difficult. But if you really want it and you really love your job, like I do, like I said, I've been in it 7 years. I'm planning to keep on going. It took me about 4.5 years to actually become a dog handler. And I have two of my friends that actually passed away. They got blown up by IED in Afghanistan in 2012, which could have been me. I was supposed to be in their position, but they gave it to them. And to this day, I still love them. It's Emmy Brasas and Emmy Broski. I love them to wherever I go, I keep them in my heart. They're my two buddies. So when it comes to these dogs, and I talk about it and I'm kind of like shaking, so I apologize because, and I appreciate Linda. Where is she? Where is she? Oh, she left. I really thank her for inviting me over here. This is actually my first event that I actually come to as far as dog-wise. I would love to do this very often because, like I said, I love my job. I love working with dogs. It's the best thing. I mean, that's like a loyal friend. Me, sometimes, I get depressed sometimes. You know, I have two kids, my wife, and sometimes, like, I talk to my dog. That's my partner. I talk to him, and he looks at me like, what are you saying? But that's me. That's just me. So, once again, I'm not going to talk too much. I know I talk a lot, but any other questions? Absolutely.
If you get to go home on leave, does your dog go with you?
All right, okay. So, excuse me, sir, I want that. But this is why I really don't like what the servers do in that hand. So these dogs, they actually literally stay on a box 24 hours a day. The only time is basically when we actually take them out to work. The only time the dogs basically are allowed to go with us if we go like on missions. Like for example, one of my coworkers, he was just on a mission on Peru. He was there for 7 days. He took the dog with him, and then he gets to stay in the hotel with him. Other than that, then when he comes back to the States, we take him back to our office, which is Neighborhood Precision Earl, and the dog stays over there. They have our patrol services that is actually on duty. They go every 2 hours and do what they call a kennel check, just to make sure that the dog is alive and stuff like that. He's breathing, he got water, and stuff like that. But other than that, and if the dog needs any like medical assistance 24, then they will make some arrangements and then they will let you take the dog home.
So that must be difficult for the handlers when they're out there patrolling with the dogs and they're so tight and bonded with them. When they come back from
Correct.
mission, they have to leave the dog.
Correct. And that's one of the things that superiors always tell us, don't get too attached to these dogs, because when we transfer, for me, I don't leave Neighborhood Precision Earl in another 3 years. So when I leave, I will leave. My dog's name is Bricks. I have two dogs. So I have MWD Betty and MWD Bricks. They should be coming over here shortly. They're en route. So hopefully they'll get here shortly. But when I leave, Bricks and Betty, they will both will stay in Neighborhood Precision Earl, and somebody else will pick them up. And then I go on, move on, and get another dog wherever else I go to.
Do they transition to the new handler easily, or is that challenge?
It all depends on the dog, on the person. Because, like me, for example, there's handlers that they like the fact that, oh, it's cool to actually be with a dog and walk with a dog and look for bombs and sniff for drugs and stuff like that. But me, I love dogs. I love it. That's just something that I always grew up. My parents are from the Dominican Republic. And when I lived there, when I was about 6 years old, I had about 10 dogs. It's just me. I love dogs. I mean, my wife, she didn't want me to have a dog. I mean, we just got a house, but because of the baby, but I was like, they're gonna like it. I mean, that's just me. And if I can have all of them, bring them on. I'm happy to give them a home. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
When the dogs age out, do you have the option to adopt them?
Yes. So MWD Bricks, he is 9 years old, but he acts like a champ. He runs through everything. The only thing is for us, after 8 years, so some of these dogs, one of the things that Lieutenant Colonel mentioned, these dogs depend whether they're explosive or drug detection. So they also can be certified as what we call patrol. So basically what patrol is what local police would do when you see like on TV when they send out and actually going after a suspect. Not every dog has that drive. MWD Briggs, he was actually certified on patrol, what we call a dual certification. Now, but after 8 years, they can, depends or if they have issues with the bags and stuff like that, they can be decertified. Now, MWD Briggs, he is a big baby. That's what I called him. because the simple fact that he just like to play and play all day. Once he sees me, he just go crazy and start spinning around, jumping, trying to bite me. I have scratches all over me, but that's fine. It comes with the job. I love it. So MWD Bricks, he is getting ready to retire in about a couple months from now on, hopefully soon, so that I can keep him. Yes, oh, I'm keeping him. He will be a great, he's an awesome dog. Yeah. I'm keeping him. I told him, you can leave. He's coming with me.
I'd like to clarify two things. Number one, on the ability for a handler to take home the dog, there are several issues. Number one, all our dogs in the United States military are dual purpose certified, which means they are patrol, which means they are aggressive dogs. So that's why they have to stay in the kennels, because legal liabilities to allow a handler to take home the dog and not having that definite capability or understanding whether in fact if I bring a dog home, whether it will be aggressive to the neighbors or to a child, that is not determined. And that's what our veterinarians, when the petty officer gets ready to retire Brick, when he gets retired to retire Brick, it'll get a veterinary physical, and they'll also do what's called a bite muzzle video. So that bite muzzle video will be the test to determine whether in fact or how aggressive that dog is, and the vet will make the call whether in fact the current handler can adopt the dog and whether it will be safe for the handler to adopt the dog. The National Defense Act of 2016 has mandated that the first handler or the handler that is currently on the dog has the first right of refusal to adopt the dog. And then we will take a look in what we call our computer system called WDMS and follow it down. So the previous handler that the petty officer may have had, then we'll offer it to him and sequentially down the line. If nobody wants it, then the dog is eligible to be adopted by law enforcement. And if law enforcement doesn't want the dog, then it can openly adopt it to a private individual who makes application through the Department of Defense website to adopt a former military working dog. So there are procedures. And your question, and the other reason so here we have Petty Officer Vargas. He's now on a dog. He gets promoted. Now he's a Petty Officer First Class, and he gets promoted to Chief Petty Officer. He's not in the dog program anymore. He will be leaving the dog program. Or this Petty Officer, his next duty assignment may have to go to a leadership enhancement school. He's coming off the dog. So the issue of trying to manage what we call term dog for life, it really is very difficult in the military because of the multiplicity of assignments, or he may apply to be a warrant officer, or he may want to go to flight school. How do you do that? At some point in time, you'll run into the same situation where the determination of where that dog is going to go or having to take that dog from that handler is tough. And I will tell you that one of the most disheartening things that have I had to do is that when a soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, Coast Guardsman deploys, that dog is with them 24 hours a day, and they're living in the tent, they're out on patrol, and then when they come back to their home station kennels, and now all of a sudden the handler has to cut leash and say, I'm going on my 30 days block leave now because I'm returned, and that dog now gets put in a kennel, and the bond, there are issues with that. But how we solve that, that's up to the veterinarians with doing their continued assessments and doing the things that they need to do from the policy side of the house to take a look at how to expand that. How do we fix that? Right now, we don't have a solution. Everybody's concerned with the same concerns that the petty officer has, but how do we do that and be able to manage it and resource it? And of course, everybody knows that we all work for somebody. And the big catch, the big issue that we all face in our respective services is we only have this much money. How does it get distributed when in the bigger picture, the Department of Defense is looking for everything else that they have to source? Installations, tanks, ships, planes. And when you only have about 1,000 military working dogs in the entire Department of Defense, we're minuscule in requirements. So, but what I'd like to do is introduce my wife. My wife is not a dog person, but yeah, she And what I can say is that many times I am in the doghouse. But what I wanted to have her speak about is that my wife has come up from the ranks, attained the rank of lieutenant colonel. She's set a great example for her soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines that she's had the oversight for. And I'd just like to talk to her about some of the challenges that she's had and to mentor some of the young ladies who are here today.
So, good morning. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Norma Vargas, and I've been in the Army for 30 years. I started as a private, and a lot of folks ask me, well, why did you want to join the military? I was like, well, I want to serve my country. You know, very patriotic, love my country, and love all the country's done for me. And just out of the blue, one of the sergeants said, well, why don't you go to officer candidate school? And I was like, well, okay. You know, I was a little unsure of myself, and I think a lot of girls, women, are a lot of unsure of themselves when you're going to be thrust into a leadership position. But what do you feel is a leader? Can anybody tell me what a leader is? Okay. Pardon me?
Someone with integrity.
Okay. What does a leader do?
Someone who knows what is right and isn't afraid to do it.
Okay, that's good. Okay, first of all, you have to believe in yourself. Okay, because I know a lot of girls, a lot of women are unsure of themselves, don't trust themselves, but the first thing is you got to believe in yourself. And being a leader doesn't necessarily mean you're in charge of everybody, like a king or anything like that. Being a leader is being a communicator. Okay, if you are working with a group of people, if you guys are working on a project, let's say, okay, would one person be doing that project? Okay, so when you have a whole bunch of people together and you're working on a project, what would you call it? Teamwork, okay? Now, you're working as a team. There may be somebody that's sort of like, I don't want to say in charge, because in charge means that they're running everything, but someone that's overseeing, someone that has a responsibility. But then you have everyone else that's working along with you as a team. So you're communicating your needs. There may be a project where, let's say you're building a robot. Okay, one person's going to be working on the arms, one person's going to be working on the legs, and then you come all together, it's going to culminate into the end project, right? You're all looking towards a goal to do something, but you're not going to do it by yourself. And as someone that's responsible, don't be afraid to get input from the other people that are on your team, because that's what teamwork is. You have to get input, meaning everybody has something to put towards it. So everybody has ideas. Never be afraid to share your ideas. You may think, oh, it's not going to help out, but hey, and then the person responsible may not have thought of your idea and may think of it, hey, we can do it this way, we can do it that way. Also have different plans, plan A, plan B, plan C, because things don't always go the way you want them, right? So if plan A doesn't work, you switch to plan B. But all that, you have to think about all that when you're talking about leadership. And leadership, you can be a leader, but you also have to be a follower, okay? Because everybody can't be in charge, but everybody has a responsibility of working towards a goal. The whole thing is working towards a goal, seeing the vision, looking far beyond today to see, work from, we call it backwards planning in the Army. You know what your goal is, then you start to work backwards so that you meet that goal. But, so does anybody here consider themselves a leader? Come on, you scouts, you guys all got to be leaders here. You all got to be leaders, okay? Because you all guys do projects, right? Working towards your Eagle Scout, okay? Okay, everybody has to be a leader in some shape or form, right? Okay, and like I said, you don't have to be a super important person on the outside, but you are a super important person inside. So just be true to yourself, believe in yourself, and also always work with each other, respect each other's views, respect each other's inputs, ideas, work together, and that's going to be the true pinnacle of leadership. Okay? Any questions? I want some questions from the scouts. Or scout mommies or daddies. Okay.
Do you have any groups within the services of women who come together just so that you have sort of like a support, any kind of sort of peer groups to support you so that you sort of feel like you have some kind of forum to talk about stuff that goes on?
Not specifically, but I mean there are like groups called for like single soldiers, or even we can form anything that we want pretty much. If we're a group of runners or marathoners or something like that, or we want to do special charities. I can remember we were doing visits to a soup kitchen a couple of times during the month in town. We'll do like a lot of charity work. So it's pretty much what you want to do, what ideas you have, what goals you have, and you get a bunch of people together, and then you have like that support mechanism. Even if it's something where somebody's going through something, you have your brotherhood, your sisterhood. You look out for each other. You have each other's back. Things like that. Unofficially, but we do have those. Yes.
What helped you feel a better leader?
Very good question. Okay, first of all, like I said, believing in myself, because I can tell you right now, I didn't believe that I could become an officer. I didn't want to be in charge of people. I didn't want to give orders. I didn't want to have that responsibility. But then you think about it, it's like, just think about yourself. You can do whatever you want. Just believe in yourself. So I said, okay, I'll try it. I learned a lot about the Army and about, making sure that the mission gets accomplished, and knowing that you can't accomplish that mission on your own. You're going to have to rely on your NCOs or non-commissioned officers. You're going to have to rely on your privates and your corporals. You're going to have to rely on everyone, because it's a team effort. No I in team, you heard that before, right? It's a team effort. You have one goal, okay? You're not going to go out there and shine and say, hey, and be selfish. No, everybody has that one goal. Everybody has to work together. So I began to believe in myself because I trusted everyone else too. I believed in everybody else to give me input. We talked things out. We looked at things. We analyzed things. We go into mission. We look back at the mission. We looked at what was, well, I wouldn't say what was wrong, what could have been improved, what was good and what could have been improved, and how to do it the next time. So just basically having, starting from within, trust in yourself.
So to sum this up, and let me talk to you a little bit about leadership, brotherhood, and partnerships. I've just met the petty officer for the first time, but as soon as I saw him, there was a bond. We in the military have a bond. We are all brothers, regardless of what service we're in, whether what uniform we wear, we work together. And that not only applies to U.S. forces, that applies to the multiple coalition partners that we continue to serve with around the world. One team, one fight. General Abizade, who was a former CENTCOM commander, he coined that, and that stuck with me, and it will continue to stick with me. And when we talk about how we lead by example, and we lead from the front. So scouts who are patrol leaders, senior patrol leaders, and the rank structure in the Girl Scouts, when you lead, people are looking to you to set that example. In life, as a leader, people are looking to you to set that example. At some point in time within our lives, be it as a student going through school, be it as a college student, be it as a brother, a sister, a mom, or a dad, we assume that position of leadership, and the way that we lead sets the example for those who we have the responsibility for. the petty officer, my wife, myself, our ability to lead and to carry out our missions is important because what we do saves lives. Dog teams, every day, save lives. Our police partners, their dog teams, save lives in the communities. So we are all leaders at some point in time, and the last term I will coin that we live by is mission first. That's our primary function in the military, but people always. You can't get your mission done if you don't take care of your troops. So thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Howard Fredericks. I'm here with Park Ridge Television today, and I'm here today with Colonel Richard Vargas of the United States Army. Thank you very much for being here today with us, Colonel Vargas. I wonder if I could ask you, how do the K-9 units help to keep military troops and the general public safe?
Our military working dogs are deployed throughout the world at multiple installations, both here in the United States and overseas, primarily in Europe and Korea, and our other assignments in Hawaii and Alaska. Our jobs are primarily to detect explosives and narcotics and provide that capability to our deployed forces currently deployed in the CENTCOM area of responsibility in the Middle East. We also have a dual mission called the Defense Support to Civil Authorities, where we can be called upon by local law enforcement to provide support in detection at large community events. And obviously some of the things that we've done is the Boston Marathon, where we've utilized military working dogs to support the police. And we continue on that mission with a K-9 force in the Army of approximately 500 dogs.
Great. And what do you think the greatest challenge is that are faced by the K-9 units and their handlers?
The biggest challenge that I believe is that the multiple deployments that we place our soldiers on, the periods of time that they have to be deployed and placed in harm's way, and then the constant capabilities and requirements for such a small force to be a force in readiness and constantly being utilized. And what I'd like to point out is that the United States military has the responsibility to provide explosive canines for presidential, vice presidential, and Secretary of State travel, currently including the requirements that we have to provide support at Trump Towers, which officially is designated as White House North.
Okay. And why, for you personally, is the Tales of Hope program so very important?
Tales of Hope is a partner in what we do. They are constantly engaged in supporting our retired military working dog force in providing free medical care. They worry about these dogs, they care, they provide additional items of equipment, first aid equipment, dog toys, and things to our forward deployed forces that really help improve the morale and capabilities of our military working dogs to do their jobs. So they are truly a partner in our overall mission.
Well, thank you very much, Colonel Vargas. I really appreciate your being here today, and it's an honor to have an opportunity to meet you and to talk with you today on Park Ridge Television. Thank you
sir.
Again.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
I run an organization that is called Support Our Four-Legged Soldiers. I work hand in hand with Tales of Hope, and what we wind up doing is we basically support the military overseas as far as supplying them with equipment and anything else that they need. We also assist the local police departments, and we try basically to do whatever is necessary. They call, we try to respond as best possible for them.
How did you get involved in this?
I'm a retired law enforcement officer, and I've always loved animals. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do K-9 in my department, but when I realized that the dogs were considered, at one time, the forgotten soldiers, I did a lot of investigation as far as that's concerned, and found out that we had a lot of dogs deployed overseas, Iraq, Afghanistan, and other places around the world, and that they were in need of equipment. And so what I wound up doing is I started contacting different organizations, got some information as far as groups that I could assist. The original group that I was able to assist back in 2009, 2010 was 332nd EFSG out in Joint Base Balad, Iraq. And ever since then, around the world and at home, I've been assisting them as best possible.
And introduce us to your dog.
This is Lucky. Lucky is my own personal German Shepherd. She's one of the shepherds that I use to basically have people come over to the table when I go at events, talk to them about the military working dog programs, talk to them about what we do to assist the military working dog programs and the contracted working dogs, and basically the canines and canine rescues and police dogs around the country.
Anything else you'd like to say about this?
Well, I was very lucky going back a couple of years ago when I realized that they were still considered forgotten soldiers to a certain extent, and they really were not getting the recognition that they deserved. I started my quest, my mission, after I spoke to a gentleman that was in Florida, Joe White, who had been a military dog handler in Vietnam. And unfortunately in Vietnam, of the 2,500 dogs that were sent over there, or maybe even up to 4,000 dogs that had been sent over there, only about 250 to 400 came back. They had left them over there. So I tried to do something that he had started, and I wanted to make Canine Veterans Day, March 13th, which was the original time in 1942 that they started Canine Veterans Day. What I wanted them to do is I wanted them to create a law, and I figured I'd start it in New Jersey. I was lucky enough that back in 2011, I was able to get Canine Veterans Day passed to be the first state in the United States that actually has March 13th as Canine Veterans Day, and it's a law. So it's not a proclamation. It doesn't have to be talked about every single year. From now until forever, Canine Veterans Day is in New Jersey, and if I'm not mistaken, 11 states so far have followed suit, have had it passed into law. So that mission started here in New Jersey.
Well, that's really interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I guess a lot of people don't know that.
No, we try to push it forward as best possible, but yeah, it's unfortunate, and you'd be surprised how many people still don't know what actual canines do. You know, everybody knows about a police canine, a lot know about search and rescue canines, but they don't know exactly what the military canines do.
That's very true, very true. Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for your service, and thank you, Lucky. Thanks.
I'm here today with Dr. Donna Mandarino of Park Ridge Animal Hospital, and she's here today to tell us a little bit about the Tales of Hope program. Tell me, Dr. Mandarino, how did you first find out about the Tales of Hope program?
So we found out about Tales of Hope through a very wonderful woman, Linda Bleck, who was a Park Ridge resident, and she had therapy dogs. And what she decided to do is to form an organization that originally started out gathering funds to help people who need to take care of their pet, especially those with cancer, but could not afford to. Linda has a very big military background, so after 9/11, she saw a need for the public to recognize what these service dogs and military working dogs do. So that's how we got involved. Since I worked at 9/11, I had a really special interest in that and a passion for it. And the organization has grown so much, and we're looking forward to it going further in the future.
And in what ways in particular has Park Ridge Animal Hospital provided support to the program?
I would say the main thing is awareness through our client base, also through the community events that we do, also asking for donations and what the donations are for. For example, we have the holiday drive where we collect supplies and also buy supplies that are needed for our MWDs that are overseas, and that's become an annual event that our clients actually know about it now. And this is the second year we've had this fundraiser. Also, we try to help out by supporting some of our veterans that have therapy dogs. So we provide veterinary care for them at no charge. And also we've extended that to other service dogs as well.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Mandarino. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you for helping the program.
All right.
We're here today with Ray Falcon, who is the president of the Park Ridge Rotary Club. Ray, thank you for being with us today.
My pleasure.
Ray, can you tell us a little bit about how the Park Ridge Rotary has been helping the Tales of Hope program?
Yes, we are partnering with them at a number of initiatives. The one that we're working on currently is our Adopt a Veteran program. We have as one of our members in Park Ridge Rotary, Sergeant David Kist, and his service dog Patrick, who is also an honorary Rotarian. And with that connection, we were then able to realize the value and the sophistication of these service dogs. That brought us in contact with Linda. And at that point, then we decided to try to take what we thought was a little pilot project and expand it to our entire Rotary district, which is now Bergen, Passaic, and Hudson counties. And Linda's been a great support and help in that whole effort.
Great. And so how do you think the best way would be for other people in Park Ridge who might not be Rotarians to help out the Tales of Hope program, either through the Rotary or otherwise?
Well, they can certainly contact anyone in the Park Ridge Rotary. We do have a website, so if you just Google Park Ridge Rotary New Jersey, then you'll actually get us. Sometimes people will try to get Park Ridge Rotary and they'll get Illinois. And just let us know that you're interested, or of course they can contact Linda directly and support her efforts, which go well beyond the program that I was just describing.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Ray. Thank you for being with us today.
My pleasure.
Well, I met Linda of Tales of Hope a few years ago, and it was at a fundraiser at my church in Allendale, and they were trying to raise money to have veterans come to a camp in New Jersey, a week-long camp. And these would be veterans with PTSD from Iraq and Afghanistan, both men and women. So my wife and I agreed to pay for a veteran to come in. After that fundraiser at church, I invited one of the veterans and his girlfriend to come to my home, and they saw my crafts and they admired the hiking sticks and all that. So I said, take one each. And later in that week, I got a call from Linda asking me if I'd like to go to the camp for the veterans with PTSD and show them how to paint on canvas and how to make hiking sticks, and also to talk about PTSD. I was wounded twice in Vietnam, and when I came home I found that working with wood and making hiking sticks and doing crafts, it kind of helped me more than the doctors at the VA did. So they enjoyed that. I spent the week there and kept in touch with several of them. And some of them are now making crafts and keeping busy. I told them you can't just stay at home and watch TV and drink beer and think you're going to get through PTSD. It's not going to work.
So how did you come about making all these crafts? Did you do this your whole life?
Well, I would say when I got home from Vietnam, I liked working with wood. In high school, my favorite subject was wood shop, making bowls and lamps and things like that. And so I eventually got into hiking sticks, and I found that it occupies my time. I'm working with wood, which I love, and I can sell them. And then my wife has money to go and buy things, you know.
What types of woods do you use? Because your woods are beautiful.
Yeah. Well, a lot of woods I find when I'm hiking. A lot of woods I buy from lumber mills. I've bought some imported wood from Australia, some beautiful wood. And, you know, I make items like this that are decorations for your home. And like I say, it keeps me busy and gives me some extra income.
We're here today with Linda Menzel, and she is with the Park Ridge Girl Scouts.
That's correct. Hi, welcome.
Linda, can you tell us a little bit about how you got involved in working with the Tales of Hope program and what that program has done for the local troops of Girl Scouts? What are they learning from doing this?
Well, I originally got involved with Linda Bleck for my daughter, who's not here today. She's an EMT and she's on call. She basically started a program for her Silver Award, and it was called Rescued Right Back, where she worked with therapy dogs, brought them into the nursing homes to give them care and compassion. And she's been trying to get involved with doing more of that on a higher level with Linda and her organization to bring it for her Gold Award. And hopefully she wants to start a rescue, she wants to do some other things, but she's an EMT, fire person, Girl Scout, I mean, just all this stuff that's coming around. building a girl of leadership and being dignified. Linda's organization, she works with several of our troops in town. They've done many of their projects with them, and it's just really taught them how to be compassionate, how to be involved in the community, how to look beyond and see that there are issues that people do not want to address or look at. And she's really inspired a lot of our girls to take that step forward to become more involved.
Okay, great. And so what are some of the activities that the Girl Scouts have actually been involved in doing in the Tales of Hope program?
With the Tales of Hope, Marianne DeGeorge, her girls have actually gone to their facility and did a whole silver project with painting and getting their camp up and ready for the veterans so that they had a beautiful place to go to. They've done many organizations like the fashion show, they've done the YAP program, there's just different, many avenues.
Find your peace within the bitterness that burns. For the sleeping dogs that lie, forever to return, forever to return. Gone but not forgotten. You cut me down just to watch me bleed. Gone but not forgotten. I gave you the last word, and that's the last thing you'll take from me. This injustice that you hold, belief in the story that you sell, for the sleeping dogs that lie, they're alive and well, alive and well.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? Good. Fabulous. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all the folks in the audience, ladies and gentlemen, the youth, and our distinguished guests. I have the honor of serving as Master of Ceremonies today. This project is put on as a joint project with Tales of Hope Foundation, Park Ridge Animal Hospital, and Support Our Four-Legged Soldiers. You'll hear from our partners a little bit later. We would like to extend our gratitude to Captain Kerwick, who is serving as our processional marshal. Would you all kindly rise for Boy Scout Color Guard Troop 80 and the Police Pipes and Drums of Bergen County for the presentation of colors.
Pipe and drum, minstrel boy, you're right, quick, march.
you for honoring our national security 2- and 4-legged folks in such a beautiful way. I can't see the PowerPoint from where I am, but the photo that's up there now is the police pipe and drum of Bergen County at the 75th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. We are really honored to have you here today. Thank you. If everyone would please remain standing, the Park Ridge Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts from Troop 80, Our Lady of Mercy Cub Scout 345, all from Park Ridge will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the brave and the home of the
Thank you so much, and I just need to share with you how I feel so honored to be with such an esteemed group. And I guess to illustrate that, it reminds me of a little boy who was throwing a ball up in the air and he was catching it. And I think most of us would say he was playing catch. He didn't have anybody to throw the ball to and throw it back to him. And somebody asked him what was he doing, and he said, I am playing catch with God. I love it. I will never claim that I've ever played catch with God, but I will profess today that I'm in the presence of some of God's most wonderful and awesome saints. And I feel very honored to be a part of that. Almighty God, you are our creator and sustainer. You are the light and our fortress. You are our wisdom and our strength. This afternoon, we seek to honor your sons and daughters and canines who have served or are serving our country in the military services, in our police forces, and our search and rescue squads. We are reminded this afternoon that because of their service, all of us can live in safety. We also give special recognition to our wounded warriors. We realize that many of our heroes are dealing with physical and emotional wounds that occurred as a result of their time of the service for our country. And we give thanks for their wonderful service dogs who are not only their beloved and faithful companions who work 24/7, but also compassionate instruments of your unconditional and healing love. We ask that all of our wounded warriors be given the best treatment available, that you would add your blessings to all the efforts given to them. And we ask that you would show them miracles as they seek to gain health, stability, and wholeness. We also give thanks this afternoon for all canines, military, police, search and rescue, disabled veterans and their service dogs. All of us here are awed at these wonderful four-legged creatures of yours. We're so willing to lay down their lives for their handlers and those they serve, expecting absolutely nothing in return. They've been sent out to find lost children and fugitives on the run. They have helped find drugs, weapons, and even bombs. Many times they are the first sent in and the last to leave. They are the noses and ears of their handlers, who they will protect and serve, who will they die for, and for us also. And all they ask for in return is compassion and a kind word. Amen. Amen.
Let's show our appreciation for our national security canines. Have some of our veterans coming. Veteran David Kiss with Canine Patrick. This is Ramapo Rescue Dog Association. MTA, police from New Jersey. Dr. Alice Quinn, whose service dog is a seizure alert dog. She trains our service dogs for our veterans and 9/11 responders. Veteran Dennis Frederick, so pleased to have you here with Bailey. Veteran Frederick is an Air Force veteran, and he is also a 9/11 survivor. He was working with Port Authority Police, saving hundreds of lives when the building collapsed and he was injured. Our friend Rob Rodriguez. Rob, where are you? Rob is FDNY, 9/11 survivor, and he has a beautiful dog who's not with him here today because he has some medical issues. They go to West Point and have received awards for their work with disabled veterans there. We thank you all, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, wonderful police pipes and drums, Kristen Plumley, Captain Kerwick, and all the canine teams. Thank you.
this has been a very passionate cause for us, and as well as for my entire staff who were here. Let's just shout out for them. And also our clients who have risen well beyond the needs of what we asked and continue to do so. You know, as a veterinarian, obviously we provide medical care. We would also like to provide more preventative care as opposed to just acute care. You know, recently we treated a dog that, helped treat a dog that went to the Animal Medical Center that had leptospirosis, the search and rescue dog. You know, so, yep, there he is, okay, you know, so, you know, not just a acute problem, but something to keep these animals healthy. But also I feel that we provide support for Patrick and Sergeant Kist, and also just for our MWDs, their handlers, to know that there's someone there for them, we have their back, and also that we care about them. And I think that makes a big difference to them, especially over the holidays, from the cards, the emails, pictures that we get back. And I think these are very volatile times in our country and world. And I think some of the answer for that is support and stability. All of us here, even in a little tiny way, like just don't say, oh, my efforts won't make a difference, because they will. You know, let's support our soldiers, our service dogs, our military working dogs, our veterans. Everyone can lend a helping hand. And also, as far as stability, so that they know that we're behind them all the way. So I'm honored to be here, and I'm so happy to see everyone come out today.
Because of you, we are able to do what Dr. Mandarino just talked about, and I'd like to just jump forward to Nico Slayton. Thank you. Rick called us on December 23rd, and he said Nico's really sick. I asked him to send the records and a photograph. I've known Nico and have had the pleasure of knowing him for years. He was really sick. I didn't think he was going to make the day, and I knew that he needed advanced veterinary care, so I immediately called Animal Medical Center. They said, get that dog in here now. Rick immediately brought Nico into the hospital. They met him at the front door, triaged the dog. He was in intensive care for 6 days. They told Rick and his family that Nico would not have lived to see the next day if he wasn't there. This brave and courageous dog is a search and rescue dog. And for those of you not so familiar with what they do, let me tell you, some of the conditions they work under are absolutely brutal. One of the first searches that I was educated about, they were working in the middle of winter. It was 20 below, the wind was blowing. They were on the side of a cliff trying to find a woman who was missing. I was terrified they wouldn't make it home. When Nico was discharged from the hospital, he still needed tremendous veterinary care. We called Dr. Mandarino and Park Ridge Animal Hospital, and they said, bring him here. We will do whatever we need to do. Rick, would you like to join us and say a word or two?
It's okay. But just want to say a couple of things. It was a terrible time for me and Nico, and the AMC and Park Ridge Animal Hospital, their whole staff, everybody there were unbelievably gracious and took care of him and actually saved his life, and I'm glad that they're here. Thank you very much.
We're glad that you're here too. You didn't tell them that you also have.
What's really critical here, besides the obvious, is that years of work goes into training these animals. And the fact that Nico is able to go back to work and save lives is really critical, besides the fact that he's a loving family member to the Calderonis. There were a couple other examples, but for sake of time, I'm not going to bring them up right now, but I just want to say one quick word about Bentley, if you could put Bentley up. We're going to be talking about Bentley in a few minutes. He's a service dog for a disabled veteran who has been a lifesaver. Because of you. This is a long list of projects that we are involved with. I'm not going to go over all of them now. We talked about them last year. They're still ongoing and we're making critical progress. You can stop by our table in the back later to look at them. This year we want you to be able to hear from the people we serve, and we're going to be introducing them in a few minutes, one at a time. I did want to thank those of you who supported the effort when veteran John Seeley, we sponsored him to come to New York from Florida. He was the last Pearl Harbor survivor from Schofield Barracks, Hawaii. John didn't tell us that at 94 1/4 he was suffering from cancer. He was determined his mission was to pay tribute to the fallen of 9/11 and tie the two worst attacks on American soil together. Many of you may not know that the U.S. military officially started their military working dog program during World War II. John didn't work with canines, but we introduced them to him. He was moved beyond words. So in keeping John's mission forward, we are creating a multimedia art exhibit called The Ties That Bind. You can see it back at our table. We've already spoken with the Smithsonian Institute, whose military people said they would assist. The Intrepid Museum is interested in hosting, and so are many others. So we'll keep you posted when it is ready. But I think it behooves us to carry on the work of our active duty and veterans who can no longer carry on the work. John sadly passed away in August, but he was pleased that he had fulfilled his last mission. We have a lot of urgent needs these days. All you have to do is watch the news. You know that is true. And one of the issues that we have, which our experts can talk about in the program, is that we need more young people to step up to fulfill the careers of the professional canines. We have a program called the Youth Ambassador Canine Career Program. Call it YAP Canine for short. It launched in 2012 to 900 students and rave reviews. It's been showcased now in 5 states, in urban, suburban, and rural communities, schools, also through our scouts, Boys and Girl Scouts, Cub Scouts. I don't know if the picture of Park Ridge Animal Hospital is up, but we're so proud. Park Ridge Girl Scouts, we're so proud of our scouts. They've been with us for 1/3 of their lives. Park Ridge Girl Scouts, we love you and we are so proud of you. I would like to invite up Maura Herron. Maura?
Hello everyone. Like Linda said, my name is Maura Herron and I'm a YAP Canine Ambassador and therapy dog handler of 5 years. Part of being a good handler means knowing your dog, and I happen to know that my dog Maggie is not a fan of larger crowds. So she couldn't be here today, but I do have a picture back there and I have Casey to stand in with me. Actually, when I was first training her to be a therapy dog, she was so shy that she hid under a table during our very first therapy dog class. At that point, I was just as shy as she was, although maybe and hopefully a little less open about it. In the same class was the calmest and quietest Pomeranian I have ever met, Casey, and her handler, Linda Blake. Linda introduced both me and Maggie to the Youth Ambassador Canine Career Program, YAP Canine, and with all the opportunities that came with it, we both came out of our shells. Maggie and I have been blessed to participate in other Tales of Hope Foundation events over the years, such as a Macy's fashion show or Jones Joy. The ability to meet such incredible people and hear their stories have inspired me to pursue a career in sociology with a focus in criminal justice. And as of this moment, next year when I begin college, I will either be in a 5-year master program for sociology, or I will be double majoring in criminal justice and sociology. The people I have met and experiences I have had have changed my life and offered me a direction that the 12-year-old girl training her even shyer therapy dog never would have thought possible, and there are not enough thank yous to express that. I would love to share my experiences and information with all of you, and I will be at our Yacht Canine table along the back wall to answer any and every question I can.
Dr. Mandarino has also been fabulous with the Yacht Canine program, and the students who want to be veterinarians, she invites them in to shadow her, which is really critical for their accomplishment in getting into college as veterinary students. We have a number of students now who have reached that level and are going to veterinary school. We're really proud of them. And last year, 2 of our inner city kids who don't have much opportunities applied to Cornell at the end of their sophomore school in high school, and they were accepted into the Cornell veterinary program. We were absolutely proud of them and thrilled. Maura, for your 5 years of service, the outstanding work that you have done, Dr. Mandarino and I are proud to officially present you with your Yacht Canine Ambassador. Our project is STEM compatible, and we have offers to bring it to over 250,000 students right now, but we need an angel investor. So if you know anybody out there who's interested, please come and talk to us. Now we're going to change gears a little bit and talk about a different program that we are working on, and that is the Adopt Our Disabled Veteran Program. Ray Falcon, if you would join us, and veteran David Kist. Ray is the president of Park Ridge Rotary. Dave is a wonderful volunteer of our program, a veteran who selflessly served, and he is a Rotarian, and I will let he and Ray talk with you about that.
Thank you very much. As Linda said, I'm the current president of the Park Ridge Rotary, but I also sit as the chair of the District 7490 Special Needs and Mental Health Committee. And I've learned over the years there are no straight lines and everything interlocks. And in this case, one of the focuses that led me to this podium is Dave and his Rotarian buddy, Patrick, who I believe is probably the only non-human Rotarian in Rotary. Rotary, just to give you a little quick up on Rotary, Rotary is an international service organization, as the name implies. We have about 1.2 million members in about 34,000 clubs, and we have one great distinction I think that you'll all appreciate. We have more Rotary clubs in more countries than either McDonald's has restaurants or the United Nations has members. So we extend quite a bit beyond. And I'd like to thank all of you for the sacrifices and your daily efforts to keep us safe and free. So often your service is not given its proper due. And so I'd like to thank you on behalf of Park Ridge Rotary, Rotary District 7490, and also Rotary International. Now, the Adopt a Vet program actually originated in Park Ridge in my club when one of our members, who's not here today because he has the bad taste to be down in Florida enjoying the sunshine, which he reminds me of on an every other day text message, named Bob Bustard. And Bob knew Dave and said, why don't we bring him into our club? So we said, that's a great idea. And Dave then, we welcomed him in as a member. And of course, we couldn't leave Patrick out, so we also made Patrick an honorary member. The experience that we had working with Dave really opened our eyes to a lot of things. It opened our eyes to the value and the sophistication of the service dog. I mean, I had no idea before this experience exactly how sophisticated and how well trained and how nuanced these dogs are. So that was a terrific experience, and also the ability to interact with a fine veteran who is struggling with his challenges as well, said to us, well, why don't we try to do something like this and make it a program? To reach out, we have 50 clubs in Bergen, Passaic, and Hudson counties, that's District 7490, and see if we can replicate that experience in each of these clubs, have each of these clubs, in a sense, adopt a veteran, primarily one with PTSD or some other service-related mental challenge, and ideally, preferably with a service dog, and there's a couple of reasons for that. And that program we're about to launch, Linda has been instrumental in working with me and educating me about the dogs, and also being shy about kicking me in the rear to make sure that the program moves forward. And this year we are going to really launch it, move it forward. And that's our goal, is to have all 50 clubs get one of these veterans into the club and create a loving and supporting environment. Now, one of the challenges, as you can imagine, is that a Rotary Club is like in any other organization. And one of the things that we have to deal with is how to interact with a person who has certain concerns and challenges. We had a great experience with Dave. He comes when he can, and when he can't, because he's facing other challenges, that's perfectly okay. But the club members have to also understand what these folks face and be able to relate to that. And so therefore we are working now with Linda as well, and thankfully we're going to tap some of Dr. Quinn's knowledge and try to develop criteria. This is where we're at now. The criteria for a veteran that would be an appropriate match for a club, for what we do. You know, some of the veterans may not be able to thrive in that kind of environment. So it's a big challenge for us to identify those tick marks and make sure that we're able then to match the club with a veteran so that both parties will benefit by that. Now, once we have determined what those criteria are, then the other side of it that we're going to have to deal with is we're going to have to identify the veterans. And for that, we hope to reach out to veterans organizations. We have contacts in with the Department of Veterans Affairs here in Bergen County, and also the Department of Mental Health, and with the Veterans Administration. And if any of you has any other ideas on where we can find potential candidates to join these Rotary clubs, please feel free to contact me. My email, I'm going to give it to you, just don't give it to all the bots that constantly want to sell me stuff, is my first initial and last name, R. Falcon, like the bird, R. Falcon at Falcon Law Group, falconlawgroup.com. So any thoughts, any ideas, anyone want to help as we move this program forward, please feel free to give me a contact, and that would be great. And all I can say is God bless you all, and God bless our wonderful country. And I'll turn the podium over now to Dave so he can give you his impressions of how it worked.
Hi, I'm David. Thanks for coming today. It's great to see a lot of familiar faces here from last year. And I just wanted to add a quick thing is, so when I came back from Iraq and I felt like I didn't fit in, it was a big blow to what I had known my whole life. You know, I joined the military 18 days after my 18th birthday, and service to my country and service was just what I knew my whole life. After a 17-year service to my country, I found myself really not knowing what to do next. And I found myself, you know, at a bit of a loss. When the opportunity arose to work with the Rotary Club, I found myself really with a new sense of direction, a new sense of purpose, and also with a great demographic of people. You know, I found that it was really, like my mom would tell me, the pillars of my community. You know, it was the lawyers and the doctors and the mayor and the chief of police and the engineers, and you know, it was really the core people in my community who wanted to continue to keep giving. And you know, as Ray said, it's as much as I can give or as little as I can do. There's really no pressure. And you know, if you know a veteran who's out there struggling, you know, feel free to reach out to them and let them know that there are people out there who want to help them, and you know, they don't have to just survive. They can actually thrive and live a very meaningful life, and this is just one of those opportunities to do it. And thanks for coming today.
Many of you have heard about is that sadly there are 22 suicides a day in our veteran population. And Ray told me recently, Ray Falcon, that there have been 729 veteran suicides right here in Bergen County.
We have to do better, folks, because one is one too many. Alice, if you could join me. We're going to be talking about Canine Bentley. I'm going to introduce you Dr. Alice Quinn, who is a 9/11 responder, search and rescue, and she trains service dogs for disabled veterans and 9/11 responders, and she has her own service dog, which I'll let you tell them about, and then we're going to tell them about Bentley.
Thank you. My service dog, Faith, is laying over here quietly and watching me. Bentley is a dog in training for a veteran that experienced some really tragic events while overseas. I can't get into detail as to what he experienced, but he relives it on a daily basis. When Sean reached out to me, he was reaching out for the last time, and he begged me to help him find and get a dog trained to be his service dog. Bentley needed to learn to do quite a few things in Sean's case. In Sean's case, Bentley needs to remind him to take his medication. Bentley needs to go and get his medication and bring it to him so that Sean remembers to take it. Sean suffers seizures because of his experiences overseas. Sean suffers nightmares almost every night. He has flashbacks on a regular schedule. When he has flashbacks, he can have a flashback during a thunderstorm. 4th of July is the worst time of year for him. He would not have been able to be here today, and he could not come today because of the crowd. So psychiatric service dogs provide an outlet. Not only do they provide comfort for their veteran, but they perform a number of tasks to help that veteran live as close to a normal life as possible. Thanks to the very generous gift of the Zimmerman family, Sean has said that his life is coming back to normal. He and his wife are now expecting their first child, and Bentley is an integral part of their life. We have something from Sean for the Zimmerman family. If the Zimmerman family could please come up.
I wanted to add to your family, you were really an answer to our prayers. Alice called me one day and she said, I have this really serious situation and we need X amount of money for a service dog. I honestly put my head down on my desk, you don't know this, and I started to cry because I thought, where are we going to get that money? And how are we going to save this man's life? Maura and her family know about our work because of Maura, thank you. And they called and they said, we have some milestone birthdays coming up, and we decided rather than having a party, we would like to do something for our veterans. When they heard how much it cost, they might have fainted, I wasn't with them. But you, Kate, said, hang on, I'll call you right back. And you did, within an hour, and you said, okay, we're going to do all of that. When we tell you that they saved Sean's life, I am telling you, you saved Sean's life.
wanted to be here today. He really struggled trying to get the courage to come, but he just couldn't, which is okay. He'll meet you when he's ready. But he wanted you to have this, and Maura's going to help us read this to you. It's a gift to you from Sean.
Dear Zimmerman family, thank you so much for your very generous gift that helped to cover the training costs for my service dog Bentley. I cannot tell you just how much Bentley does for me. Your gift is a lifeline for me. Bentley provides daily support for me. Some of the things that Bentley does and is learning to do for me: bring my medication to alleviate symptoms, summon help during a crisis, answer the doorbell, pull tab to open door for emergency responders, open and close doors, drawers, and appliances, hit an emergency button programmed to call 911, assist me in getting up after a fall, provide me a medication reminder at certain times of the day, wake me up from restless sleep/night terrors, facilitate social interactions, provide tactile stimulation to disrupt emotional overload, provide me an excuse to leave, provide panic prevention/reducing hypervigilance in public situations, alert me to changes in mental status, nudge me during a dissociative state or fear paralysis. So you see, Bentley saves my life every day. Without this dog, I probably would have given up by now. You have helped to save my life, and that saves my family's life too. My sincerest thanks, Sean, Bentley, Gina, and our expected new addition to our family.
We also thought that they shouldn't miss their milestone birthdays. So we have a birthday cake for you. And if you could join us in singing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Zimmerman. Happy birthday to you. So much, thank you, Elizabeth. We're going to talk about another issue that we deal with every day here and nationwide. I would like to call up Sergeant Ryan Curving with Canine Lakeland. Canine Lakeland was a gift from our community in Tales of Hope in 2016. Ryan's going to speak with you about what Canine Lakeland does.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the Patterson Police K-9 Unit, I would like to thank everyone for coming today, especially the military men and women. What we do as to combat the opium epidemic in Patterson is we go into neighborhoods and we try to seek and find the opium heroin. As you can see up here, I can't really see. Up here, this is one of K-9 Lakeland's finds in the summer. It's approximately 2,600 doses of heroin that are now off the street. The Patterson Police Department has 9 dogs. We have 8 dual purpose. We have 7 patrol and narcotics. And we have 1 patrol and weapons dog. And then we have 1 single purpose weapons dog. Together as a unit, we deployed over 1,900 times in the last 2 years, 2016, 2017. In the year 2016, we seized over 19,000 glassines, which is one of these little packets of heroin. 2017, we doubled that, and we recovered 38,000 collectively as a unit. Today I have with me Sergeant Anthony Pistone. He also has a patrol narcotics dog. The finds that are up here, the pictures that are up here are just from K9 Lakeland. But there's many, many more that I don't have pictures of from the other K9 teams that we have in our unit. I wish I did. It's not all about me. We're a unit. So if another unit, like Sergeant Bastone's dog finds, we take it as a team effort, and we all found it. It's 10 glassines, 1,000 glassines off the street. I'm going to go into a little about how we go proactive in and we combat the heroin epidemic in Patterson. What we do is we go into high crime drug areas that are known, and we go and we search abandoned houses. We go into abandoned houses with the dogs, trying to defeat the dealers from them trying to hide it from us. If there's a recent spike in crime, we're in that area. We're doing our searches and trying to eradicate the heroin in that area. We work 2 shifts, morning and a daytime, and we're out there every day, rain, snow, any time of the day. But I would like to thank everybody here, especially the Tales of Hope Foundation. Without them, and without them helping us get K9 Lakeland, we wouldn't be able to do this effort and seize all the heroin off the street. I would like to, we'll take questions later if anybody has any questions for us. We'll be more than happy to answer them for you, myself or Sergeant Bastone. But I would like to say thank you again to Linda for everything she does, Mary, Trish. You've been a godsend to us, and we can't thank you enough. Thank you.
We have 2 gifts for the Patterson Police Department as well. Zach, if you could join us. Zach Spitzer is a YAP ambassador, and he is an Eagle Scout candidate. Every year we develop Every year we add new programs to the YAP K9 curriculum, and last year we added the Police Community Bridging Project. That project, thanks to the D'Alessandro Family Foundation, wherever you are, raise your hands. Big thank you to you for supporting us. Our students were recognized on the floor of the Senate in Connecticut last year, and we're hoping the same thing's going to happen for you, Zach, as you work on your project. So Zach's going to say a few words of what he was doing, and then we have a special gift for you, Ryan. Zach.
Thank you. I'm Zach Spicer. I worked with Officer Curving in the Patterson Police Department to build agility equipment through Tales of Hope for the new dog, Lakeland. And here today I have the door. I mounted a car door to help train the dogs.
All right, since he's a little tongue-tied, I'm not much better. So, what we're going to do with this this obstacle is we're going to mimic a dog making an apprehension into a vehicle. All our dogs are cross-trained for SWAT entry. We're an emergency response team, but SWAT tactics. So, in a way, this is going to help us train the dogs how to get into the vehicle and jump through the window, make the apprehension, and be able to call the dog back out of the vehicle. So we thank you, Zach. Thanks for everything you've done.
And now the moment that Zach's been working really hard for. If everybody would turn your attention to my right, Sergeant Curving, and folks from your department and Zach are going to unveil his first gift of 5 agility windows to the Patterson Police Department. magnificent. Zach, thank you for everything that you're doing. We're proud of you. Sergeant Curving, if you could come back, we have one more item for you. Today's Christmas for a lot of people. Trish and Mary, if you could please join us. And Frank, come on up for the wings. We're really proud of Canine Lakeland, and we'd like to ask Nina and Ellen, if you're in the audience, to please stand up. They were our lead donors from Lakeland Bank. Thank you. You heard from Ryan, you know that our boy is doing a great job, and he told us they need another one. So, Mary and Trish, two angels with our program, have something for you, Ryan.
We'd like to present you Simpson, which will be coming in October.
On behalf of the Patterson Police Canine Unit, I appreciate it. I want to say thank you to everyone that has made this possible. Just so you have a little background on where this puppy is going to be going, where we're going to be retiring our last German Shepherd that we have in our unit sometime in September, October, and this is going to replace it. It's going to be a dual-purpose patrol and narcotics dog, and again, it's going to help get the opiums off the street. Thank you.
In this end of the world, there are things that are bittersweet. We have a special tribute that Frank Yavchek, our partner, wonderful partner from Support Our Four-Legged Soldiers, is going to share with us. Trish and Mary told you this canine is going to be named Simpson, and this name is in honor of a fallen friend of ours. Frank?
Good afternoon. Bear with me because this is not going to be easy. All right, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Frank Yavchek. And today I would like to take a few short minutes to talk about a dear friend, and it's an honor to have been called brother by Tech Sergeant David Simpson. He was a brother by choice, not by birth. I met David via email and a photo he sent me during one of the most horrific situations imaginable, combat in Iraq with his beloved military working dog, Robson. Once his deployment ended with a 332nd ESFG K9, we lost contact until he emailed me telling me that he had been medically retired and that he was going to get Robson, who he calls Robsy, from Germany. I was thrilled that he and Robson were okay and that they would be together again. Shortly after, he sent me a video of him retrieving Robbie, and from then on I knew we had something special that neither of us could imagine. Over a few short years, Dave and I became as close as anyone could be, separated by 1,500 miles. I invited him up to many salute events with Adopt a Soldier Platoon, where he and his wife Erin were pretty much adopted by Alan and Mary Edna Couchnough, personally and through their organization. All in all, David was as unassuming as anyone could ever be, and when invited to this event and any other event, he stated, and I quote, "Frank, I have been through a lot and risked a lot, most of which I would like to forget, but I do not consider myself a hero. We did what we were trained to do, and anyone in my shoes would have done the same thing to stay safe and keep others safe. Robson and I were fortunate during our tour and came back in one piece, so to speak. My injuries are not missing limbs, scars from bullets, or shrapnel, but instead are internal. They are what are referred to as invisible wounds. I would be honored to attend Adopt a Soldier Platoon's salute event, but I do not think I am the best candidate." David was also our guest at Camp for Our Vets, sponsored by Linda Blick of Tales of Hope Foundation, K9 National Security Gift Project, where I was his mentor for the week. There he and many other disabled veterans were able to talk and just relax among friends. And I would be remiss not to mention that Tales of Hope, again, Linda Blick, with the expertise of Animal Medical Center of New York City, not only saved Robbie's life, who was David's service dog, but continues to monitor his health from afar. And anytime he needs to rise, Park Ridge Animal Hospital stands at the ready to assist with all of our service dogs. Although I only had a few short years with David, they were among the best of my life. He so loved his family and his job, especially his Robbie. His dedication to the U.S. Air Force and Robbie taught me much about what our military endures every day of their lives. Over the years, I'm so happy that David and Robbie, along with Erin at times, were able to enjoy the Freedom Tower, the camp for our vets, tour of NYPD, our visit to Ellis Island, Statue of Liberty, the times we just chilled at the local hotel, and this past Fleet Week where David and Robbie were there to honor a World War II Pearl Harbor survivor with Tales of Hope Foundation. The last time I spoke to David was at a Fetch restaurant in Warwick, New York, where we had a couple of drinks and dinner with friends before he flew back to Florida on May 28, 2017. Over the next couple of days, we spoke, Facebook, texted, and text I keep on my phone till this day. Everything seemed to be on track, but on June 1st, 2017, David lost his battle to PTSD, TBI, and Lyme's disease. As you can imagine, my heart was in my throat when I received that call. For months afterwards, I constantly asked myself, what could I have done? How did I fail David, Erin, the kids, and Robbie? But this is not about me. This is about the need for help for our men and women who give so much, and although they expect so little, they deserve everything that is available without reservation for their care. I'm privileged to still be in contact with Erin, Alex, Maddie, Eli, Robbie, and Thor, among the rest of his family. David is and will ever be my friend, and it's an honor that he chose to call me brother. An honor I do not take lightly and will never forget. He is an amazing man. He never asked for anything for himself and always wanted to give whatever he could, emotionally and physically. I will always remember the laughter, the jokes, and the times we had together in the woods with the crazy canines that everyone thought was so good, as Robbie watched two of the service dogs go at it, as Robbie just sat by David's side to say, and they were afraid of me? The good Lord above knows just how wonderful a person David was on earth, how much I cherish his friendship, and now he will be forever in God's loving hands. Dave is one of a million and will forever be in my heart and soul. David's earthly body will be forever missed, but his spirit will live on in all of us, and we are better people because of it. David, my friend, my brother, rest easy, and I pray you watch over us that are left behind. Until we meet again, I salute you, brother. Thank you for being my friend.
Captain Kerwick, if you could please join us. We are honored to have him here. He is with the MTA Special Operations Canine Division and is the president of the United States Police Canine Association. And he's going to talk to us about threats here and about a new product.
Thank you.
Thank you, Captain.
Good afternoon. I'm kind of speechless right now, and that's not very often, let me tell you, after the subject matters we've just been talking about. And I'm honored to be up here, and I'm truly humbled to be up here right now. What I'm going to talk about is important to me, but I don't think it's going to overshadow what we just talked about and the unfortunate things that some of these people have had to deal with. There's something going on in this room that's not very common to me. We deal a lot in law enforcement with the bad side of people. Occasionally we have the good side show up too. But most of the time we're charged with helping people, but we also have to fight evil on a daily basis. And I feel like today I'm surrounded by so much good in this room, I'm almost speechless. People like the Zimmerman family, our veterans, our active military, everybody in Tales of Hope here. There's nothing but good things that have been said here today, and it's going to be hard for me to keep up with that, but I'm going to be short. We face a threat today that's coming into our communities. It's not just in metropolitan New York, it's It's in Portland, Oregon. It's in little towns in the Midwest. And it's drifting over from the Middle East, and it's becoming a nightmare for law enforcement, because we don't know when something bad's going to happen in our communities these days. Whether it be airplanes flying into a building, which used to be our primary concern years ago. Today it could be anything, anywhere, anytime, from anyone. Today's threat's a lot different. It was 9/11. It was that big catastrophe we had at the World Trade Center. It was the airplanes flying into the buildings. Today it's not like that. It's the guy who sits in his cellar and plots an evil event and just comes out of nowhere and does damage to people, innocent civilians. They're not military, not police all the time. It could be any of us, and that's kind of scary for us. So in where I work, and I'm very honored to have, I'm charged with trying to keep explosives off mass transit in the areas we work, which is the metropolitan New York City area. So buses, trains, bridges, tunnels, anything that moves on wheels, we're kind of always alert on, and we're always at a level of vigilance that I can't even explain. Whenever something happens worldwide, I hate typing that out on the email to my men and women, please be vigilant, because how much more vigilant can we be? But I'm primarily concerned with keeping them safe, getting them home safe to their families, and making sure everybody else is safe. Sometimes we forget about some of the tools we have, which is the dogs we have that help us. And we have a lot of great canines that detect explosives and look for bad guys. About 2.5 years ago, I was sitting around a table with a few of the people I work with, and just said, hey, you know, we've had first aid kits for these dogs for a long time, since I started in canine. But they usually deal with, you know, a broken nail, fleas, ticks, parasites, things like that. But today's threat's a lot different. We're in the subways, we're worried about sarin gas. We're worried about, just like the Sarge says over there, we're worried about finding some narcotics or opiates that we're not planning on finding while we're looking for something else. And the dog ingests it, and suddenly he's a heroin overdose. We're looking for anything that they might be sniffing and looking at and ingest, and there's a lot of poisonous materials out there. And we needed a way to make the dog safer. So this was not my idea, but just a joint effort by a bunch of my police officers. And we came up with an idea to make a first aid kit that would not only work for the dog in those situations, because no one made one anywhere in the world that we could find. Even the military was playing with the idea and had issued some of these things to some of their specialized people, but I needed it right now. And we went out and we managed to find some funding from a very generous donor. And we were able to make about 100 of these bags. And they're very expensive. They're about $1,000 each. And you can't just make the bag. You need veterinary approval with it, because there's certain drugs we carry with us that we administer when the dog gets hurt right then, right now. So these same drugs work for us humans too. So if I get nailed by sarin gas, or my officers are in somewhere and something like that happens, they can not only apply this drug to themselves, but to their canine partner as well, and get them out of there in one piece. If they ingest opiates, we can save the dog from that. And with this kit alone, in New York City over the past year, I think we've saved something like 6 human lives with the naloxone, just from our own people. So I think Linda's going to show you a briefing on this bag, and it's meant to do good, just like everybody in this room is doing good. The Zimmerman family, who contributed all this to get that dog to save someone's life. The rest of our military here, the Vargases, my officers and sergeants in the back, and the people from Patterson. This room is just crowded with good, and I'm up here high, but believe me, there's a lot of heroes in this room, both in uniform, out of uniform, families that do much more than I could ever do. But I'm going to try to do this project, and it's my idea to try to get these bags out to as many working law enforcement canine handlers as I can. Unfortunately, it requires some money. But I kind of believe good things happen. Even when it looks bad, I still believe good things happen to all of us, and this room exemplifies that today. But I'm going to turn it back over to Linda, and thank you, and I apologize again for the noise.
So basically, Zoetis is the animal division of what was Pfizer drugs. So that is how it's like a spin-off, so that's the name. So, but everybody I know recognizes Pfizer. So we knew there was a need for this bag, and Linda and I and the Tales of Hope members are like, okay, how are we gonna raise money for this and awareness? So Jonathan, our fabulous rep and a wonderful person, we were talking one day when he came to the clinic, and you know, would Zoetis, a recognized name, help us do this? So briefly, our project is to have these like boxes that explain a little bit about what we're doing and how to give a donation. But with Jonathan's contacts of all the animal hospitals that he visits, and I, as a veterinarian, we're going to reach out to each of those hospitals to see if they would be able to raise money for at least one of these vests. So I'll let Jonathan go on a little bit more about the details and the number of hospitals.
Thank you. Colonel Vargas, Captain Couric, Dr. Mandarino of Park Ridge Animal Hospital, the wonderful Lisa, she is tremendous, other distinguished guests, and our beloved four-legged brave friends. My name is Jonathan Howard. I'm the Strategic Account Manager for Zoetis. Zoetis is the world's largest pharmaceutical company solely devoted to animal health. And on behalf of our nearly 9,000 employees in over 100 countries, I am excited and delighted to be with you this afternoon. Zoetis, formerly Pfizer Animal Health, with its proud history of spanning over 60 years of bringing life-changing therapeutics to many animals, we are really excited to extend ourselves to another wonderful charity that we've been doing globally for 60 years. So there's no better charity than the canines who protect us under the Tales of Hope Foundation. We are honored, we are proud to be partners with this wonderful campaign. Thank you.
And now we have a gift for you as well, Captain. We are going to be joined by Canine Search and Rescue Handler Tom Rudd. Tom has something for you. Tom and Lucy.
Good afternoon. First, I'd like to thank all of our military, police, and SAR units for all the service that they perform every day. But I'd also like to give a big thanks to our volunteers, because without them, none of this would happen. The other thing we have to remember is those volunteers have families, spouses, and families who allow them to do that special deed that they do. We have to thank them. Sit. There you go. So I'm up here to do a little dedication. It's about my dad. I'd like to tell you a little bit about my father, Charles Rudd. He was born on August 25th, 1919 in Queens. He grew up in Woodhaven as an only child, his only sibling having died before his birth. His dad died while he was in high school, which forced him to leave to support his mother. On November 27th, 1943, he enlisted in the U.S. Navy and was assigned to the USS Cebu and the USS Argonne with the ship repair unit. He served in the Pacific Theater, the Philippine Liberation, and World War II victory, including Pearl Harbor. He served proudly and received his honorable discharge from the Navy. There's only 12 pages. Upon his return, he resumed working for Monroe Machine Company as a mechanic, and he retired after 43 years. He met and married the love of his life, my mother, Teresa Farinacci, on September 7th, 1947. They raised my three sisters, two of which are here, and me in Floral Park, where Dad remained until his death last December at the age of 97. Dad, forever proud of his ancestors, was inducted into the National Society Sons of the American Revolution, descendant of Major General Nathaniel Greene. And he loved dogs. His first dog as a child was Brownie, and then all of his grand dogs over the years. Dogs could sense his gentleness, and none could resist Charlie's special whistle. Days before his death, Lucy, my canine partner, would get up and lay on the bed with him, lick his face in his hands. Dad would smile. His love for dogs and his admiration for the tremendous services many of them performed is the reason this gift made in his memory is so very fitting. Dad would be thrilled. On behalf of Dad and the Rudd family, we would like to make this contribution to COFAC program in hopes of keeping our canine teams safe. God bless.
Don't leave. We're extremely grateful to Tom and Angela for your patience and support all the time for what Tom does, and Tom for your amazing service. Tom, as one warrior to another captain, wanted to help support your teams and kick off the COFAC Protect the Canines That Protect Us, and he is gifting 3 to your department.
Thanks, guys.
Just want to say thank you to not only Tom Rudd and his family, but most of all to the memory of his dad. And again, more good in this room, and I'm getting choked up and I can barely speak, but thank you.
This is what the point of purchase donation box looks like, and if anybody would like to speak with your veterinary office or your business in sponsoring this, please contact any of us. We have information in the back, and Jonathan has graciously said he would help us with it. Jonathan and Dr. Mandarino, thank you from the bottom of our hearts, and Tom and Angela. Colonel Vargas, it is our distinct honor to introduce you. Colonel Vargas and you, some of you met Mrs. Colonel Vargas. Norma, if you would please stand. Thank you for your service. Colonel Vargas is here all the way from the Pentagon to talk to us about some really critical issues. Colonel, thank you.
Thank you. 2 themes today as I was talking to members who have service dog. The first is that what we do is so others may live. We patrol and go out in harm's way, police officers, military members. And the second theme is that every individual that I've talked to that is here with a service dog, police and military members, have all said one thing. If I had it to do over again and I could be with my buddies in combat, I'd go today. Nobody claims that they are a hero because they just say the same thing that all true soldiers and police officers, those who take that step forward to protect others, say, I was just doing my job. We're not heroes. The heroes are the men and women who have sacrificed for this country and have given their lives in the service of this country. There have been 32 military working dogs killed in combat in the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. And as we continue in our missions to protect the American people in our military capacities, we work hard to make sure that we don't let the American people down. The United States military, the United States Army, has 3 primary missions: to provide military working dogs, narcotics and explosives dogs, to support Title X contingency missions and overseas operations to support our national security effort. We still have military working dogs deployed in Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Kuwait, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, and Jordan, in the Middle East alone. We have other dogs that are deployed and assigned to military installations in Germany, Belgium, Holland, Korea, Hawaii, and Alaska. Our job is to maintain combat readiness and provide that support necessary to save lives, to get out there and do our job. How do we do that? We attend the school at Lackland Air Force Base, and from there we're deployed to kennels across the country and overseas, and then we deploy not only to support Title X missions, but to maintain law enforcement operations on our military installations, and on top of that, a very important mission. Every time the President, Vice President, and Secretary of State travel, we accompany them. We clear all the venues. We currently have 4 military working dog teams assigned to Trump Towers on a permanent basis, providing that presidential support. And it's difficult because when you take a look at our worldwide requirements, we have approximately 500 dogs, and on a continual rotational basis, we are stretched very thin over the course of a period of time. Is there anybody in the audience who wants to be an Army dog handler? I can make that happen. I can. Yeah, well, we got you hooked up with the Marine Corps. The Army's changed focus. It used to be that you had to be a Sergeant E5 in order to come out of the Military Police Corps, and all military working dogs are under the auspices of the United States Army's Military Police Corps. And we provide the support based on requests for forces, to all the other requirements to support Army deployed units. In the history of the Military Working Dog Program, we have changed focus from only supporting U.S. Army missions to supporting the joint services missions. During the continued wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, you would have Navy handlers supporting Army Brigade combat teams, Air Force handlers supporting Army Brigade combat teams, because when we determined how broke we actually were, we needed to use all our focused organizational structure from all the services to support our operations. One of the things that we're taking a look at right now, at least on the NATO side of the house, we have a NATO Expert Military Working Dog Committee where we've brought in all our European and Scandinavian countries, and we've formulated an official working group where we've actually received approval and concurrence for a NATO standard agreement, which says that military working dogs of our partner nations deployed under a NATO auspices can be used by other national organizations, i.e. So now the prohibitions that we had during the Middle East war in not allowing us to utilize German, British, and other coalition partners has been lifted. We have a third mission, which is very important, which is our coalition partnerships and nation building. So I'm not sure what slide we're on here. Keep going. That's a good one. Interoperability. You know, Captain Carrick got up here, and we're a very small segment of society. Everything that the police find with the issues with opioids and explosives, we find them too. But what we do is we've formed multiple coalitions and partnerships with law enforcement agencies to share information, to conduct joint training, so that we're all on the same sheet of music. So if something does happen, under the Defense Support to Civil Authorities, the military has the responsibility to provide supporting mechanisms or enablers to local law enforcement. So we train with the MTA police, we train with the NYPD, and our biggest threat right now is not your standard explosives. It's homemade explosives. Right now, a thing called TATP and HMTD seems to be number one on the hit parade. That was what was used in the terrorist bombings in Belgium, France, and the UK. Easily procurable, easily made. So what we do in the United States military, we have the capability to get that and utilize that on our military installations and allow police and law enforcement to come on our installations, and then collaborate with the FBI and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms to get them to come out and support local law enforcement so that they can actually make these elements, these compounds, so that we can mutually train together. Again, it keeps us all on the same sheet of music. It keeps us all in a constant state of readiness and preparedness to meet any challenges that we may face. Next slide, please. This is where we are. The blue are our combat deployments. The white are our standard military Thanks. The white is our standard military installations, and the yellow is where we have nation building requirements, because that's one of the biggest things that we do. We take our military working dog professionals and we send them into South America and Africa to help these nations create military working dog programs. So we develop them, we assist them with policy, we assist them with training, and this obviously in our best interest to support national security, to train them on the same parameters as we use to enhance their capabilities in their own respective nations and to support an interoperable mission so that they can work with us as partner nations if we have to deploy anywhere in the world. Next, please. The perfect canine. That is the perfect dog. That is perfection. So that dog can detect explosives, narcotics, clean itself up in the kennel, and then at the same time, be man's best friend. Do I have any questions? Thank you.
Today is Christmas for everybody all the way around. And when we told Colonel Vargas that we were working on the COFAC Protect the Canines who protect us, his military working dog team said, boy, we'd really like that. We can't get into it, but there are other kinds of threats that the dogs that serve overseas experience, and we are going to be customizing the bag for them. Each of the bags is going to have a picture of the donor and a message. So every day when the police or the military working dog teams open that bag, their message is going to be in there that you care. You who have supported them care, and you're thinking about them every single day. Colonel Vargas, on behalf of Park Ridge Animal Hospital, I'm going to turn this over. They are going to be gifting you the very first COFAC bag. Dr. Mandarino, would you like to speak about that?
Sure. So during our holiday drive, which I had mentioned earlier, our clients and other people who are interested in helping us out, like rose to the cause, and we were able to have enough money to do this, and we are very proud and honored for you to have this bag. And as we spoke earlier, there's no I in team, and I'd like to thank my Park Ridge team here, because without them, it wouldn't be possible.
We have one more surprise in this regard for you. Barbara and Nancy, if you could come up, and Tom Rudd. I think we've managed to surprise you here. I have the pleasure of introducing your sisters, and they're going to tell you why they're here.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Mine is only one page long. My name is Barbara Heiko, and this is my sister, Nancy Zask. And I thank you for, for us. Thank you for just giving us a minute to tell you a little bit about our brother. Those of you who know him know how much time, energy, and dedication he has devoted to Tales of Hope and other working dog organizations. He's often the man behind the camera, and Linda recently shared with me that his photography has given a face to the work of Tales of Hope. And his dedication is apparent even at today's event, because he's been here since real early this morning. Anyway, so that's a dedication, and it is something that he loves. But my sister and I, we saw a different kind of dedication. While we cared for our dying father. As Tom told you, our dad was one of a kind. He was an amazing man. But Tom shares a lot of those very same qualities And my sister and I were called Charlie's Angels by my dad, Charlie. But Tommy was the protector. And the protector was the perfect word to describe everything that he did in those last few weeks to make sure that my father had the most beautiful ending and send-off that anybody could have wanted. And it was a beautiful blessing for all of us because we were able to take care of my father in his own home, in his own bed.
I'm going to interrupt one second. They're both nurses.
That had nothing to do with any of it. And my brother slept in a chair next to my father's bed every single night, protecting him and making sure that everything that needed to be done got done. We have been looking for something to do for Tommy since that time. We got bracelets. And beautiful words that made us cry at the time. But we could never find the absolute perfect thing that would be a fitting tribute for Tommy until the COFAC. And so our COFAC is donated in honor of Tom Rudd, our brother, the protector, with love from Charlie's Angels. And we love you, Tom. Thank you for everything you did. And Colonel Vargas is getting this COFAC. Thank you all very much for listening to us. You're welcome. God bless.
Colonel, we have one last gift for the military, and that is standing in front of all of you. These beautiful stained glass pieces were commissioned by Tales of Hope Foundation, and they have had a historic journey. The one on my right, your left, called War Dogs, was featured in the inaugural contingent in the New York City Veterans Day Parade that I spoke to you about. Actually, it was a poster because those are too fragile to be actually in the parade. It was also featured on the first K-9 Veterans Day of Observance ceremony, which I had the humble honor of chairing. And we now have a committee with the folks that you met here today. We're working on national passage of K-9 Veterans Day in memory of Vietnam veteran Joseph White, who started the movement 30 years ago. These pieces were created by Gay Ann Wayne. She's a detective. She was a detective. She's retired now. In New York City, she was with the Joint Terrorism Task Force over 9/11. Gay is a wonderful human being, and I often laugh because people meet her in the course of working with us, and they say, "Oh, what a sweet lady. She's like a wonderful mom." Well, guess what? She was the #1 sharpshooter and could break your neck in a second. So I always say, yes, wonderful mom. And she doesn't even have any children. The second piece Gay Ann created after meeting your soldiers, sir. She was so moved by the bond between the human-animal bond of the military working dog, she came to us and said, could I please make one that represents that bond? She did. It's called Warriors at Rest. These two dogs, the black German Shepherd is named Bagheera, and she was in the parade with us in 2012. We were honored to have her. They had just come back in from deployment. We are hoping that these will go permanently at Lackland Air Force Base, where the MWD school is, and we don't expect you to put them in your pocket and take them home today. We'll work on that. So, Colonel, on behalf of Tales of Hope Foundation and our wonderful dedicated volunteers, we thank you. We thank you, Colonel. All of our veterans, we have Kevin Henry over here, 2-time Purple Heart veteran from Vietnam. We're going to move to the final portion. You've all been so sweet and patient. And I would just like to say to you, last year when we talked about the Medal of Honor recipient, what he said. We believe that an educated community is a supportive community, and boy, have you guys stepped up to the plate. So we want to say thank you to each and every one of you who are here today. We'd like to challenge you to think of other ways that you can help us support, because we keep getting lots of requests. And we thank you for what you've done. And I want to thank particularly Frank Yavchek from Support Our Four-Legged Soldiers, Mary Kolakowski, who falls asleep at her computer making videos for us and doing other things, Linda Menzel and Marianne DeGeorge, where are you? They have been working night and day without any sleep to make this possible. And all the wonderful staff at Park Ridge Animal Hospital and Trinity Church, who has been with us every step of the way. And now we have our final tribute, and we will end with a song by Nancy Bach in a moment. Chief Tim Griffin, who is Chief of Police at the Stevens Institute of Technology, is going to join us with taps. Mary made a beautiful tribute video to the fallen. If we may have your attention on the screen, Clayton.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I've worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. To be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA. Well, there's pride in every American's heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. To be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Say a big thank you to Nancy. There's a table over there if you'd like to write a note to a veteran or an active duty person. We will make sure they get it to you. Thank you for being an educated community. Keep helping us. Ask what you can do. Thank you for coming today. God bless you, and let's keep our troops in our prayers.
Hi, I'm Zach Spicer.
And what troop do you belong to?
I belong to Troop 15 out of Glenark, New Jersey.
And what are you doing for Tales of Hope?
This is my Eagle Scout project, and through Tales of Hope, I'm building a agility equipment, and this is a car door that I built. So they're going to train dogs to jump through the window of the car door.
And how long did it take you to do this?
It took a little over a week to build this. We worked on it every day this week to put it together.
Okay. And which police department is this going to?
This is for the Patterson Police Department.
Have they asked you to do this, or you volunteered to do this?
I volunteered to do this. I volunteered to do a project for them and to help build agility equipment, and they thought it would be really cool if they actually had a car door. So we got a car door donated, and we mounted it on a stand. So
have they tested it with the dogs yet?
They have not tested it yet. We're giving it to them today.
Will you be building other things for them?
Yes, I'll be building 3 hurdles for them to use to help train the dogs.
Very good. Very, very good. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm Howard Fredericks, and I'm here today with Linda Blick, who is the president of the Tales of Hope Foundation. Linda, can you tell us how people from Park Ridge can get involved with the Tales of Hope Foundation and help out?
That would be wonderful. An educated community is a supportive community. They can go to Tales, like a dog tail, of hopefoundation.org. That's talesofhopefoundation.org.